you have to punch up. Your work is cut out for you. You've got a big, long road ahead of you. Playing for Invictus Gaming up here in the top right-hand side of the map in the red. He is Shy.
So cool to see Invictus Gaming still supporting StarCraft 2 over all these many years, the decade long in StarCraft 2. So shout out to them and much love. In the bottom left here, supported by another great brand out of China, this is Kaizi Gaming's Time. The king of the region. Can he be dethroned? Shy getting a victory here would be the biggest upset I've seen in recent memory in StarCraft 2. And that sounds like hyperbole. But, you know, I know we've gotten some upsets out of Europe, of course, and North America is a little topsy-turvy sometimes, but Shy is not meant to defeat Time here. That is absolutely said without a shadow of a doubt.
Definitely not. It would be very exciting if he can make this competitive. If he wins, it will be a huge upset. But we'll have to wait and see how things unfold. Of course, Maynard, I have a quick question for you while it's early on in this series.
Sure, man.
A quiz, one could say.
All right.
Which one of these players has the better nickname? And I'll give you the two nicknames, obviously, of course, translated through Wikipedia and probably from Google Translate. Time's nickname, Barbarian. Or Shy, Brother Bird.
Now, this feels like a trick question, but I gotta say, I think Brother Bird is a pretty cute nickname. I would take Brother Bird.
Amazing.
There's so many barbarians out there. There's not that many brother birds.
Exactly. It's unique, right? I like that. You know, respect the originality. I do as well. So I'm with you on that one, Maynard. I think Brother Bird up here in the red is gonna put up a good fight against the Barbarian.
What a name! These nicknames are fantastic. We've heard a couple as well, you know, from the other players. But it's really cool to know. I feel like you get a name like that from being a sort of an old salt of the scene, you know, like one of those guys that's been around, he's seen some stuff, he's been all, over the world at IEMs and such. Like I remember Shy being in brackets and Heart of the Swarm back in the international. When I hit the international scene as a commentator, he was there in the open bracket. This guy is, you know, he's very seasoned. He's 33 years old. That's pretty aged for a StarCraft 2 pro gamer. Of course, Max Ed, also from China, a very legit pro gamer who's also similar age. But it's one of those things where you, with your experience and being able to remain relevant, like, you know, he's still fighting for top 3 here in his region, which is really fantastic. You are looked up to often by a lot of the players that are trying to break into that group stage or into that playoff bracket or whatever. You look up to players like XY or Shy for all just their tons of experience and their not just experience with StarCraft 2, but the Brood War experience as well, like just RTS experience in general. All of it really carries across from game to game.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people are like, cool, you know, I remember especially in the early days of StarCraft, there's so many players like, oh, cool, you know, I just got into this, 2011, I want to go pro, like, you know, how can I get pro in the next like 3 months? And you're like, oh,
oh, you sweet summer child.
I don't think you understand how much knowledge and skill there is in this game. You know, people talked for years about, oh, the Kesper training houses is why Korea is so good. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Like, you know, you've got teams, you've got infrastructure, you've got most of the population in one city competing in local tournaments. That's great. You know what else is great? Having 10 plus years, now 20 years of StarCraft experience, of people committing their life to playing this game, playing down on the community grassroots level, playing in their competitive clans, playing in the pro leagues, playing on TV, becoming celebrities where there are hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line with individual matches and this sort of stuff. This is something where the shared knowledge pool is massive. And I can't talk too much about that because Shy is going hard. Oh, there's a Widow Mine. Takes it. Oh,
Reaper micro there from Shy. Baiting out the Widowmine shot. Now, there is a Raven here for Time. Doesn't quite have the ability to do anything but an auto turret at the moment. And this is certainly very annoying.
I like this push, though. This is really cute. Oh, the Cyclone takes a big shot, but gets a lock on. Does pick off some of these units. That auto turret does get taken down.
Wow.
Ooh, Shy. What a push. Already trading very well. Looks like he's going to get the depot there as well. Remember, this is not like an all-in push or anything. This is not some crazy commitment. It's just a big disruption. And that micro is so good.
Yeah, very nice micro here from the old dog. And getting the reactor, halving the marine production here on the only barracks of Time. This is so annoying from Time. He's actually taking a ton of damage.
Yeah, he's even getting SCVs. I mean, the fact that he saved the Reaper multiple times with pickup micro is like from a Widow Mine and a Cyclone. I'm impressed. Shy is looking great right now, takes a 16 supply advantage, and well, getting us all giddy and hyped up here. The Cyclone and the Marines in the main base. Cyclone does pull out of range there of the siege tank, but oh, I couldn't clean up though for time.
Yeah, time does clean up and obviously will survive here, but I gotta say, man, that was a lovely start there for Shy, and that confidence, third base on location, and just continuing to macro up back at home, trying to just exacerbate his lead here. Lovely opening from our veteran here. Obviously, this game will continue. Neither player is close to dead, but yeah, just a good way to start a blow to the jaw of time.
I love a push like that. Those really fast tank pushes with the medevac. I mean, that's so good. And the way he positioned the tank, I actually didn't think it was in range of the reactor. And I was like, oh, I guess the depot is like, it's better than losing the tank. At least you get a depot. Getting the reactor is so annoying. Like when you lose that reactor, I'll tell you, there is deep frustration as a Terran player, and Time would have felt that going, because you want to swap that around. You want to have a lot more Marines out at this point. And now, of course, with Shy also just saying, you know what? I've got that momentum. Take my third on location. Up a couple of workers here. There is a slightly quicker second and third barracks, or actually a good bit quicker for Time. So he's going to be going up into the stim and the bio production a little bit earlier, but the income advantage for Shy looking great.
Certainly is, and Time doesn't really have anything to take that away from Shy at the moment. He could do some Raven harassment, no doubt. Looks like there's two units in the south side, like on the east of the map, that just sort of went toe-to-toe there, and I think Shy's just won the battle. It was a Reaper against a Marine. There we go. So I didn't know if that was a flying unit or not, but we just saw it. Scan from Time to see that Shy is indeed playing bio, just confirming that. Reacted starport kicking in, probably assuming that they're Vikings, but those are pretty quick Liberators actually coming out of Shy here.
Moving out now, looking for an angle. I wouldn't mind him going around the far left or right from Shy, but I think Shy for now just looking for a bit of map presence more than anything. He's going to move forward. The Marines will spot him. Oh, no.
Maybe not. Yeah,
Two Marines beats one.
Time's doing a good job at spreading out his units here. This is very important in TVT to break off those Marines or just single units. Marines, of course, being the cheapest. You just send them out on the map and become spotting units for you, because positioning is everything in TVT. Not only your unit comp, but and obviously Raven control, air control, very important. But positioning, so important for these siege tank battles. Gets rid of that Cyclone left side. Shy's
look out, the Ravens!
Oh, Ravens kicking in. Interference matrices, but he stacked two spells on one tank here. Shy's still with a fair bit of firepower on the back line, but it looks like enough from Time with these landed Vikings to cut through the middle of the map.
Yeah, the double interference matrix on the one tank, a little wasteful from Time, but cracks through that army, and that's such an important move. There's not many units left behind. There's only one tank, a Heli and a Reaper, a couple Vikings. That Liberator counterattack is doing a good bit of damage, but the tank goes down. There's not much firepower left behind this. Oh, I think it'll be enough, though, actually. The Drilly Boys assemble, and they actually will end up holding on here. The Liberator... Oh no, that's a lot of SCVs starting to fall. That auto turret especially, ouch.
Yeah, Shy maybe sticking around a little bit too long with the Drilly Boys. It was cool when he was losing like 7 or 8 of them, that's fine, but after losing 10 more, that stings. Worker count still relatively similar here. Obviously the Liberators did hit back, but weren't for free either from Shy, so as the dust settles here, Pig, what are we looking at? I feel like Shy's in an okay spot. He's got +1 done. He's on his way to +1 armor. Time has double upgrades at a time, though. Like, he's got these 2 engineering bays lined up. Shy kind of missing the tempo on that double upgrade, so he could start +2 if he had his armory up and running, of course, but doesn't look like that's the case at the moment.
I mean, it goes to show just how far ahead Shy was, that you can lose all those SCVs and still be in such a nice little position here, right? Supply-wise, upgrades are important, don't get me wrong, but I think that Marine count is just growing quicker for Shy, who's is really still just got a very nice army up. The tank count, not amazing for either player. Have we got second factories? I don't think either player's built a second factory. It looks like a 4th and 5th barracks only now. Finishing up for Time. So Time, yeah, he's just, I mean, he made a good fight there, but he was 3 racks versus 5 racks. Like, Shy was kind of powering a little bit, missing bits of Marine production, but now he's got 4th command center. He's got the armory finishing up. They're both going to be going to 2-2 upgrades, and Shy still with a big army advantage. I think he's got a lot more Marines right now.
Yeah, and he's about to have equal upgrades. 35 against 18 there, nearly double the Marine count here for Shy. Also double the tank count, strangely enough, so his factories have been kicking into overdrive. Definitely the bigger army, but TVT is definitely that matchup where you could have a bigger army by 30-40 supply and lose a battle because your opponent is siege first and they're in a better spot.
Wow.
So you got to be careful here. Liberator doing some damage and also getting out of dodge. Vikings on the hunt.
Yeah. Old man specialty unit, the Liberator. You know, Shy, a man after my own heart, likes the old set and forget. It's a big problem for the opponent to deal with. It's so lovely just mixing in that Lib harass when you've already got the lead like this. And yeah, Shy's got the double upgrades on the way. It's adding vehicle weapons, adding a second factory, has the quicker fourth command center. Time, though, honestly, this is so ballsy. Like, Time's like, yeah, I'm going to build a fourth on location. I'm like, you can't do that, right? But
you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. You can't do that, but somehow he secures it. And oh, Shy might just dive forward though. I think if Shy just jumps on this, I do think he can take this fight.
He is going to try and jump on it, dropping the tanks and a hot pickup there with the medevac. His Marines taking a little bit of fan out, but they do have the concave anti-armor missile though from Time to take the armor points away from Shy's army. Shy coming in from the north side, but not enough of a flank to matter, and Time defends beautifully. Thank you,
dude.
Raven.
Those tanks ended up kind of trapping his Marines. There was a clump on the top of that. I hope we get a rewind of that after the game. Whoever ends up winning, because a lot of the Marines clumped on the north, and there was like 2 siege tank shots from Time that killed like 15, 16 Marines. It was insane. Like, it was the most stack of splash damage you could get. Now, Shy is still doing a good job with the Liberator, harassing a little bit, but Time, I think, has stabilized completely at this point, and now should have a nice tank advantage.
Yeah, still the Marine production looking nice for Shy. Time took a little bit to start +2 armor, so he's going to be a little bit behind in upgrades. We're talking about Time's upgrades being pretty good before. Sure on the other foot right now for Shy. Still continuing to find SCV damage with these Liberators being very annoying. And his fourth is up. It's a planetary. Shy once again taking the lead in army supply. At Time, looks like Shy maybe missed a few SCV rounds or something, because Time has not been dropping or anything like that. It is ahead quite a few workers, even though he's been losing the majority of them this game.
I think Shy has been a little bit too afraid with the army. I would have liked a few more forward sieges, what I like to call like a passive push or a passive siege in TVT, where you siege up close to a base, but maybe you're just in range of a refinery. Like, you're not really looking for big damage, but you're looking to push them back. Oh, I can take out a sensor tower and just scare the opponent, force scans, be defensive. Because he's not done that, I feel like, you know, the armies have now reset to the point where it looks like a slight advantage for Time. Still got those Ravens alive from earlier in the game. Army's supply very close. 1 upgrade advantage is about to disappear here. Time's going to catch up in those upgrades.
Yeah.
Posturing forwards, and this is what I'm talking about. This is this kind of like passive push where you're just threatening. You're not actually committing to a dangerous scenario just yet.
Time loses a few Marines there. Of course, trying to bait the Marines into tank fire. They're not quite in range of the tanks, and the tanks are busy with these destructible rocks. And Time, I mean, this whole whole game, rather, Time has had Ravens alive, and he's been able to keep them alive. I think he lost 1, but he still has those 2 from earlier. You don't keep making Ravens in TVT unless you're, you know, doing some kind of YouTube challenge. But it's usually you make 2 or 3 Ravens and then stop. And that's certainly the case here for Time. But these Ravens being alive all game offer a ton of utility, and they've been a big reason why his engagements have been going so well. Think about the earlier map engagement in the middle of the map here, near, like just to north where his army is. Interference matrices won him that battle. Auto turret won him the defensive battle at the beginning of the game. The Ravens anti-armor missile helping him out with that Marine fight at the 4th base. Once again, using the spells of the Raven, he's going to try and pick up the planetary, but that's a planetary pig. He's going to need the tank assistance here.
Good spread by Shy. He's going to get a few tanks in range. He's going to go for it.
Oh my god, Shy's planetary and his Marine standing out, and finally he finds a good engagement here. And what an engagement indeed. Shy just cleaning floor with Time there.
Dude, mass SCVs pulled for the auto repair, and he managed to flank his units around behind and through the mineral line, come in, created the perfect arc, tanks sieged to start the engagement. I cannot believe how well Shy did that under pressure. That was a situation which is so easy to mess up and run your units into tanks and just die. But Shy actually just, breaks it out. Wow. Maintains control. He's moving out to his own 5th base behind this. Time still got a giant economy, and it's Time who's going to go into the Raven style behind this. So he's going to be looking for interference matrices all game long.
Yeah, researching Corvid reactors, starting 2 starports worth of Ravens here. Some players would even like to go to BCs at this point, but Time really doesn't have money for that. And Shy is looking better than he's ever looked, man. If the first 2 series that we cast on the mainstream weren't indicative enough because they were just the one matchup, he's going toe-to-toe with the King of China right now, and he's looking real good here at this point in the game. Time trying to get around him, but Shy sees it. Moving to intercept. Good scan.
Those Marines going to stim after this force. The Vikings, of course, mean if you turn and fight, you will lose all your medevacs. Oh, I don't think Time actually could win that fight, but he manages to bully him. You know, sometimes you do just need to turn around and punch the bully in the face, though, I think. Time there kind of scared him away. Shy maybe giving him just a little bit too much respect. Time's economy is huge right now, 82 workers.
Yeah, certainly has the beastly economy, and he is maxed out. A lot of that is because of the workers. A bigger army here for Shy at the moment. It looks like Shy with these Liberators actually kind of has air superiority here. He's got a good number of Vikings, and the Liberators will force unsieges from Time, which he is successfully doing, but Time repositioning and re-sieging those tanks, making sure that this area is still covered for now. Where are these Marines going from?
Such a good position. He's going to try and come in. Shy's Marines do fall back a little bit, loses a few of his tanks, but his own Marines come forward. Has he gone too deep with his Marines, though? Shy. Oh, a bit of a messy engage there for Shy. His Marines getting slaughtered. I think he's still got the Viking control, though. He's still got one lib, but that one is not covered. Marines, I think, could stim forward and take that out.
They're going to try to. They target fire down the Liberator, and they do get it. The Vikings, though, doing some damage on the air. They pick off one of those Ravens. They get a medevac as well, and continue to dominate the skies here for Shy, which means that even with a smaller tank count, he can continue to press the issue, and at least remain a threat here for Time. I like that he's broken off a medevac. Try and get another spot up here. Still in range of that tank. Reposition so before he sieges up. Well done by Shy. Good reaction.
Oh, that's really nice. He can start damaging the workers now, picking off some of these supply depots. The sensor tower is in danger there. Time looks like he was thinking about flanking, but there's still 5 tanks on the right, 2 on the left. As more Marines join up with this position for Shy looks like it could be a game-winning one. There is a 2nd and 3rd starport finish for Time, but he's still building Ravens right now. I don't know, dude. The Ravens, if they can land the interference matrices, he can pull this far off. Can he do it?
The Marines have Time trying to catch reinforcements, but he's actually going to lose so many of them on the front line there to the reinforcement tanks of Shy. This position, man. We were talking about TVT and positioning being everything, and Shy has got himself a checkmate position. That base is not being lifted. He just goes to the repair now, but the tanks might be able to pick it up.
Yeah.
They plus 2 attack tanks.
That base is in huge trouble. Liberators are coming forward again. Once again, he's going very far forward with his Marines and libs. The Vikings are getting smashed.
Oh! Time's Marine count staying relatively healthy here, getting rid of the air army. Time buying himself a little bit more in this game here. Well done in the defense.
Oh, he's not going to go down without a fight. And yeah, this is Shy. He's got a 6th base up in the top left, but Time's also expanded to the bottom right during all this. Still at such an awkward position. He's got a few Ravens, but there's a good tank count still. Oh, I like that. He's going to siege up in range and take out the front tanks.
Turret nearly getting a medevac there. He's got to use the Ravens for more air vision. There we go. Now the tanks can get rid of that last interference matrix tank. Shy does catch the bottom right base. Time definitely wanted to get away with that one. So that's going to be a pick off on that command center. Good pick off for Shy. Marines aren't covering this location though. Ooh, bit of a move command there on those Marines. Maybe a misrally from Shy. Loses a couple. Is going to pick off one tank. I think he might be in range of another there with that Liberator.
Yeah, that lib's really big because he's trying to save the bottom right base. Loses a tank, almost loses a second one. These Ravens are trying to get value, but these Raven armies are some of the most tricky things to use. Like, and if there's one fight where the enemy has the Viking advantage, you can just get wiped. And the Vikings are being rebuilt here for Shy, who, oh my god, that's a great position.
He's got the concave again, Pig. He's wrestled it back from Time and putting a lot more pressure onto the 3rd base again. The tanks of Time siege up, though, once again repositioning, and Time still defending here. The 3rd base still surviving, and Shy still just washing up against the rocks of Time's defense.
Dude, Antion was like, what the hell, Time? Oh, come on, mate. You psychopath. Absolute psychopath. He's so pinned back. He needs another base to mine from to keep up in this. And he's going to take Shy's 7th base. This is actual insanity right now. Both players are so close in supply, but Shy's position is the problem. Is it, though? Interference matrices are finally going to break it.
Ravens, man, you're saying that they were tricky, but I tell you what, Time's got them hands, he's got that brain, and he's using it to full capacity here. He's been taking down these tanks. He's really been resetting the tank count here of Shy. He just continues to rally in. All these tanks are clumped up, though. Shy going to get a few tasty pickoffs there on those tanks.
Yeah. Those Vikings still a big threat right now, picking off some. Oh, but there we go. He's just going to go forward. And Shy's got to get out of there. Just give up the position. And finally, Time has asserted control. He's even moved SCVs and made a planetary up here. You're just a crazy man. Time, just opportunistically, he's realizing how much Shy has committed. Like, the thing is, every time he cleared part of the push, Shy's reinforcement would get another angle on the front. Shy has been rallying across the map, pinning him back, but unfortunately for Time, no way to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, you could have one Marine on the high ground there, and there's not a whole lot that Time can do about it. It's just not and he invested so much into it as well, because he also bought a planetary there, and you can't refund that, so... A bold maneuver here, bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it pays off.
Yeah, I don't care how much of a Karen you are. I don't think you're getting a refund on that one, mate. Like, there's no way that's the store's fault.
A team of Karens can't get a refund from that manager. Oh, man, Shy actually has a big Marine count here. The south side of his tanks a little exposed to this concave of Marines from Time, and Time loses his front line. Shy
breaks it
through.
Dude, these anti-armor missiles have been so big for Time, but that angle was just too good for Shy. I am honestly so impressed that he is so consistently landing anti-armor missile at the start of the fight. He always does it in the opening seconds and gets almost every Marine of Shy, like every single engagement. It's so well done. I'm scrambling to this bottom right-hand side. He's like, I desperately need to get my economy back up. If Time...
That's his main.
Yeah, dude, losing that base. If Shy can secure that 7th one as well, and he could also be, he's floating a command center over. He's floating his own main over.
Wow.
But that's to the 7th, whereas Time has floated his main to a 6th. You know what? Like, yeah, this is actually a really rough situation now for the blue Terran. He's been trapped in his corner of the map all game long. Shy has a larger army. These Ravens are the lifeline. I can't believe he's doubling down. I guess he's got so much gas and so little minerals. Time is hoping the Ravens can do it, but I don't know, dude. This is yet again another push down the center, and he's not ready for it.
Oh, Time's super out of position. I'm with you on that one. Shy taking a little bit to get his tanks sieged up. These Marines might be able to pick off a couple. No, they do not. They don't quite get there. The tanks of Shy getting sieged on. Anti-armor missile again. Interference matrix on the tanks as well. Oh. Isn't enough from Time with the support abilities from these Ravens to break through. He goes for the auto turrets, loses 3-4 Ravens here. But can he hold on?
Oh, once again, it's like the story of earlier in this. Oh, Marine drop on the right. Marine drop on the right. Oh, that's it. A 25 SCV kill drop. The Marines will come and defend it, but still very successful there. I mean, I guess Time's running out of minerals, so he can probably replace that. But, oh, he's still got a rotation with his reinforced. Ravens on their own can't defend this. There's just not that many Marines. The tanks are sieged. The Vikings taking out the Ravens. Too many Marines on the ground. Shy, making him pay so much to try and defend this base.
Yeah, oh, dude, it feels like the fuel is starting to run dry in a tank here for Time. That big drop in the bottom right, you mentioned it. He's lost a bunch more SCVs there. He got like another 9 SCVs died there, Pig. Just in that battle. And Time is in a world of pain right now. His economy is in tatters. Almost double the mining here for Shy mineral-wise, and minerals are king here in TVT because you're playing Marine tank. Look at the Marine production difference. It's just double the Marine production difference for Shy.
Yeah, it's just so many more units coming out, and he's regaining the air control with Viking Lib again. So the thing is, Shy here, just keeping up that economic train. He's got his 7th base landed. Meanwhile, he says, oh, you've got 7 bases? Guess what? No, you don't. Marine drop on the right, slow push forwards on the front with the tanks as well. The Marines are going to try and break the front, I think, but no, Time thinks better, but he tries to come down. He will not save that command center, though. That is going to fall.
Yeah, his Marines came down to the south, but are realizing the bulk of the forces here from Shy are actually on this high ground location. And his Ravens really, once they've spent their abilities, are a bit of a dead weight at the moment for Time. He's going to try and go through these tanks by looks of things. Looks like he thought about going for the interference matrix, but just doesn't have the Marine count to fight this anymore.
Vikings are about to join up. Those Ravens, I mean, they had their chance, but now it's passing. Vikings are going to start winning this fight. Marines coming in a huge arc. Shy just going for it. Anti-armor missiles, auto turrets going down. Oh, wow, a great usage of the Ravens, but the numbers are there for Shy.
Wow. And Shy starting off this series with a bang. He takes map number 1. He's on a 6-map win streak, Pig. 2-0 over Firefly, a 3-0 over Jaishi, and starting up 1-0 here against Time, the king of China. This old dog is having the tournament of his life right now.
Dude, just start to finish as well. Every time where he was trying to force that push down the middle and Time held on and wiped an army, I was like, oh, it was so nice, but I guess it didn't work. I was like, no, and then the reinforce would come and they'd work down, if he was on the left where he got held, he'd work down the right, get a new siege. He kept doing it right from the start to finish. This siege tank here, lovely micro. This was not just a cool build. This was great micro to back it up. He kept saving units from the Cyclone with pickups from the Widow Mine. And this here was a scary moment. He was way ahead economically. Time counter pushed, got himself back in this game. Watch the top side of this fight. Top side of this fight. Watch those Marines. And the anti-armor missile just, oh my gosh, the Marines, the tanks. And they just all kind of got stuck behind the interference matrices. Time must have landed about 100 interference matrices in this game.
Yeah, it took a long time for Shy to win an engagement, but this one he won hard. Look at the numbers. Look at the supply difference after this fight. Shy taking an overwhelming fight there. And this position at the third base, he nearly cracked this location 3 or 4 times. Credit to Shy for getting himself into a really lovely spot, but credit as well to Time to defending really beautifully for a lot of this game. That third base location managing to intercept Shy's attack every single time. But this particular moment was just a little bit too much. The macro machine for Shy kicked in. Time had lost his income, he'd lost his pipeline, his gravy train had been derailed, and he just didn't have the production to meet up with his opponent. And that was it. Shy just overwhelming Time there. Man, what a game one. You know what, Pig? I think I might need a break to regenerate. So let's take one. And when we return, Shy versus Time, map 2. Don't go away. G'day, StarCraft fans. Welcome back to the Chinese main event here for DreamHack Masters. Winter, I'm Maynard. With me is Pig. And damn, did Shy start the series off with a bit of a bang there, Pig. He's currently 1-0 up against Time. And I mean, it's really quite obvious, but if he does this a couple more maps in a row, then this bracket is wide open. That means that Shy is going to be guaranteed top 2, and that means Time or Cyan are not going to be in the grand final.
Yeah, which would be absolutely insane. Honestly, that game was all Shy start to finish. Just aggression and control. He looked awesome. I guess part of me does wonder, you know, that's a good way to start the series. It's a perfect way. But you know what? He was the one with the momentum. You know, if that momentum slides back, if you get Time suddenly the one who's doing a bit of drippy dropping, maybe he's the one pulling the Liberators in to harass Unsieging, pulling back. That's, of course, the situation Shy wants to avoid. We know Shy is playing great tactically, strategically, mechanically, still does not want to be on the back foot in this series. Needs to win 2 more games, though game 1 was a massive confidence booster. Bloody exciting for us to watch a 25-minute TVT where Shy carried it through. This series is turning out to be an absolute treat.
Yeah, it's when one fella who's 13 years senior over a kid that's, what'd you say, 400, 500 Legal Act points ahead of the second place. Like, if we're not even talking about Shy, we're talking about second place. We're talking about Cyan for China here. There is
like
a
800,
500 Legal Act point.
He's like 800 ahead of Shy.
Difference. Yeah.
Like, massive rating difference. It is you know, for many people, they're like, oh, that's insurmountable. But, well, this veteran's showing, already takes the first map. And going into Submarine down in the bottom right-hand side. He's looking great so far. It is Invictus Gaming's Shy.
In the top left, he's lost the first round of this bout, but he's looking to try and put this guy back on the mat. From Kaiser Gaming, this is Time.
Double gas opening for Time, and likewise here for Shy. But it was a gas first opening for Shy, whereas it's barracks gas for Time. So Time potentially going for earlier Reapers, whereas the just super rush up the gas count for Shy is going to go for that quicker factory.
Yeah. Well, that's the magic of the double gas opener is that you usually are a little bit safer. I feel like on a smaller map like Submarine, it's the better thing to do, just because if there's going to be a proxy barracks play of some variety, it's going to be a little bit more powerful here. So double gas makes you sort of kind of safe because you have your faster factory, right? Speaking of which, where's Times? It's taking a little bit there. Shy's is a few seconds ahead.
Time builds his second depot before his factory, delaying it by a couple of seconds. A very odd choice. I think he wanted to deny a potential scout that would have come in around that time. But it does put his factory a solid, 10-15 seconds behind. Not the biggest deal in the world. His Reaper does pop out a bit earlier, and it's going to be a second Reaper immediately for Time. And Shy as well following. So both of them going 2 Reapers. Have we pulled off gas at all? It looks like, 3 have been pulled off gas for Shy. Time on the other side of things, I believe, also has pulled 3 off gas. So almost mirrored build orders here. Very similar timings, all things considered. Just a bit quicker into the Hellions, which means Shy, I think, will probably be the one to push across first with the Reaper Hellion and look for an aggressive poke.
And as the Reapers and the Hellions get produced for both players, we'll see what the strategy is. Obviously, faster factory usually means faster starport, and we're seeing that from Shy here. He starts to move out in the map with his first couple of units.
Yeah, straight into the starport, and the third supply depot will be going down for Shy in a moment so that he can start the Cyclone up. Really well-timed build order from Shy, but not poking with the Reaper Hellion, just using them defensively for now. Time, on the other hand, just a bit behind on the starport, going for the Widow Mine. It really is a calm progression from both sides. It is a safety-focused progression. You can see they're both setting up outside their natural, ready to receive any potential pressure from the opponent. But neither of them wanting to push across the map just yet. And oh my, that's a tank before Cyclone again, Maynard. We may see yet again another one of these medevac openings.
Yeah. I mean, it ain't broke, don't fix it. He tried it last game. We've got a medevac opener from Time as well, though. It looks like he's trying to fight fire with fire. but he doesn't have a ton to lift up with his medevac apart from his early game army. You know, there's no tank here for time yet. He hasn't got a tech level at his factory yet, so definitely behind in that regard.
Be really cool if we see them both kind of go down the same path, but so far behind on that Tech Lab factory unit is time. Cyclone only now starting up. And definitely looks like we're going to see that. Yeah. 4 Marines and a medevac going to load into this. 4 Marines and a tank, sorry, going to load into that. The starport swapping over to start Raven production. It is going to be a Widowmine Reaper Marine drop for time, up against a 2 Reaper Hellion poke on the front, and a 4 Marine Siege tank drop right behind that for Shy. This game's about to get messy. Almost every unit moving across the map for Shy. I think this favors time massively. He has literally nothing at home. Shy is in big trouble.
Yeah, that's a lot of Marines here, and that is a SCV slaughtering force here for time. Gets the tank up, no doubt. That's a very nasty unit to have to deal with, but time just needs to basically wait there for his moment for that Raven to pop out, and he should be able to hold. Widowmine also in this army for time, which means that the SCVs are kind of forfeit from the main base mining at least.
Yeah, the fact that a Cyclone did not queue up immediately after that siege tank, I think was a big mistake here for Shy. And if there was a Cyclone here, you'd have the beginnings of a defense, 2 Marines and a Cyclone, right? Now SCV's being forced to engage. Shy's got a great position on the other side of the map, picks off a reactor, a depot. That's awesome. Normally, not when your mineral line's getting slaughtered, though.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely turning out very nicely for time, and Shy not able to fight back just yet. He has supply block time, obviously, because he's getting those extra depots done a little bit further back. Now there's a tank for time, there's a Cyclone, and he's got a Raven back at home as well. So it feels like he's just probably a couple seconds away from pushing back Shy here.
Barracks is burning, and looks like the Cyclone's finally going to defend this, but my golly, that's a huge amount of damage. If Shy can get in the mineral line of time on the natural, it's like, hey, maybe you can even this out a little bit. But look at that, the Reapers, they say, okay, we can't take on a Cyclone, but we'll run back in the main. A few wounded SCVs here from earlier, and oh, lots of SCV kills being added. Already a big economic advantage, just adding even more to it. 5 more workers, that's 37 to 22. These cute little poking pushes from Shy, like I said, they're normally really nice harassment, but he needs more than harassment. He needs a big swing and knockout punch right now to get himself back in this game.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where Shy is desperate for a counterpunch. He's like, God, I lost like 20 workers. I need to do similar damage, or maybe at least like a dozen, and he just hasn't found it yet. He's down. Oh my God, he's down. He's down 70 workers, 17 worker deficit here for Shy. It is not good in a mirror matchup, to say the least. So as time continues his macro, which is usually pretty impeccable, he will continue to get further and further ahead here on 2 bases.
Yeah, this was really good choice by time to do his own drop play. I think after being pinned in the corner for all of game 1, time has just said, you know what, I'm going to take the fight to you a little bit and really pressure you. And we saw the difference. Time was a bit more consistent with his unit production. Oh, Shy's so good with that. But Ty was more consistent with his unit production. He had more units at home, while Shy was trying to like power up a little bit into things like Ravens. So it paid off for time, finds himself in a really big advantage, and now can reassert himself in the series. You know, we were talking about, hey, what if time's not on the back foot? You know, it's going to be really hard for Shy to compete mechanically. Well, how about an even worse scenario? How about if you're like 15 workers in a base behind 7 minutes into the game? It's going to be an absolute nightmare for Shy to be playing this map against time.
Yeah. A comeback from here would be extremely tough, but he's searching for it. Loses the Cyclone immediately to this defensive tank, and he does get a mule, but obviously that's not worth a Cyclone. He's going to try and drop up here, but the medevac boost interrupted by the interference matrix, and the Vikings finish it off with its payload. So that is a good defense there from time, and one thing Shy cannot do right now is trade badly, and unfortunately that medevac, that's trading badly.
Reaper comes forward with a nice little pokey poke. Marines will take him out, or will they? Takes a Marine, backs off Shy here, going for rather standard play. And what I don't see from Shy is like a Viking Liberator push to get back in the game. Doom drop into the main to catch him off guard, get a nice siege. You know, these sort of things are where potential comebacks can lie. Instead, we see a 3rd command center, a 2nd and 3rd barracks going down after the 4th and 5th have gone down. A nice little push forward here. But my gosh, there's just so much for time.
Certainly is. Interference matrix on every single tank here for Shy, and times are about to return fire here as Shy gets cleaned up. And without much left at home, he taps out. Time taking a sub 10-minute fight back there, and as he ties up the score 1 apiece. really dominating him on Submarine there. Obviously off the back of a really effective drop opener. Both players went for a strategy that was kind of almost a build order loss for Shy, in the sense that his drop had a lot of potential to hold against Time, but that what Time chose to load his medevac with were better, and he was also switching into the correct units back at home to deflect that that aggressive opening from Shy. So Time really picking the correct build there and getting rewarded handsomely for it.
The real problem here for Shy was that factory just sitting idle in the top of that base, not missing SCVs, not missing Marines, going into Ravens. Really good play in that regard, but that tank got out a minute ago. There could have been a Cyclone ready to receive this push, and that would have changed everything. So Shy being a bit greedy on the SCV production, not playing safe with the non-stop units, and I think the push, I mean, imagine if he loses 10 SCVs behind this, I think it's okay for Shy. I think he's got that great tank position. It seems like a great push. He micros it really well. The problem is he's done it 2 games in a row now. And I think at this point, Time is going to be expecting it every single game. I do not want to see Shy go for the same pressure in game 3. I want to see him change things up a little bit. You can't get too predictable against someone like Time. He's going to know how to adapt and shut this stuff down.
Yeah, he will directly and even blindly counter you if you're a one-trick pony. That is for damn sure. And that will basically equate to what is most likely going to be a reverse sweep from Time. But of course, we will see. We're going to have map number 3 around the corner here. If Shy can find that energy from game 1, remember that momentum, and just continue to, you know, think about getting those great positions on the upcoming map. I actually don't recall what map is the 3rd one here. We're not in lobbies here, unfortunately, guys. Just to let you guys know as a bit of a peek behind the curtain. Pig and I would lag the ever-loving F out of that game if we were in the lobby, and we're trying to get as few Australians into the Chinese lobby as possible. But we do have the client sort of broadcast to us through a clean feed, so we can't do things like check unit counts ourselves, which you like to as commentators. We can't check upgrades ourselves, which you like to as commentators. We rely completely on the observer, just like you guys do, to get all the information. Luckily, the observer listens to things when we say that, so he acquiesces to our requests. Thankfully, good old Insano. Does a great job, by the way. Shout out to him.
Often you start asking for something and he's already showing it as you start saying it anyway. So it's always nice to be working with the talented, lovely observers that we have in the StarCraft scene. I think we have some of the most passionate ones out there, of course. He's always there, you know, following his teammates, cheering for them, and observing these games. He's up to date with the strategies. And here we go. It's going to be a Romanticide. And down here in the bottom right-hand side, a massive underdog. He normally doesn't make it to the group stage, and now he's in the upper finals. Can he make it to the grand finals? It is Invictus Gaming's Shy.
And the top left here, fighting back on map number 2. Looking to try and get that series lead. Let's see if he can get it. This is Kaiser Gaming's Time.
This time around, a bit of a quicker double gas for Shy, while only 1 gas still for Time. So Time's going to go for the older expand opening. It's a bigger map. It's good to mix this in. I mean, if you do that sort of double gas opening that Shy did in the previous game, I think an expand build is perfect against that, honestly, because there's just nothing that actually comes across to punish you. Shy likes to skip the SCV scout. Now, obviously, you lose a bit of minerals by sending the SCV across the map, but getting that quicker command center, often putting a bunker in front of that, can really set you up very well.
Indeed. Did you have the full wall off there from Shy, just to deny information from Time as he comes forward with that SCV? He's going to get his command center up nice and quickly back at home. Really, the only big difference there between the two players is Shy going for a little bit of delayed natural.
I think Time will just look to positionally deal with that sort of tank push if it comes in again. May put a bunker way out front the natural on top of the ramp. And for now is just obviously checking for proxies, checking for Reapers trying to run by. And both of them kind of standing their ground. Shy is ready to put that command center down and does go for it on the low ground. It's about 40 seconds behind. But, of course, sped up on the unit count. Interestingly, a Widowmine comes out this time around for Shy. Bunker going down for the safety for Time. And that's really surprising that this Widowmine... I'm thinking he's going to do a medevac play again, but more of like a Marine Reaper mine drop, kind of like what Time did in that previous map.
Yeah, potentially. Ooh, fast switch over in the tech lab here. Ah, interesting from Shy.
No starport yet. This is such an odd... Is he going Magfield into mech? Oh my gosh.
Oh, you spot on there, Pig. Nicely called.
I was literally scratching my head, and I was like, well, what could it be? I was like, oh, okay, cool. Sometimes people go bio after this. You go like 3 Magfield Cyclones, you just play bio, but second factory goes down. Shy changing it up. It's like, hey, all right, big map. I
like it.
Yeah, let's change it up. And skipping the starport, this is actually one of my favorite ways of playing mech, where you say, you know what, if you're going tanks and Vikings, it's so many expensive units, it's so hard to cover all your bases. Let's just ignore the starport war. I'm just going to completely ignore it, double down on factories. We're going to get Cyclones for map control early, and then just go into the tank count really nicely. Any starport will come down a fair bit later to add Vikings to this, and it's a very defensive setup. What's interesting here for Shy is he has not scouted across the map. You can tell he has a well mapped out game plan from the very get-go. He's like, no, we are just camping in my territory. We're sitting here defensively. Time is kind of going, okay, you haven't come across the map yet. Reaper's going to look for some information. It will see 2 Cyclones, which is a bit of a tell.
Yeah, just a bit. These 2 Cyclones now. Oh, the hand is shown. Let's go across the map and see what we can get done. Still making Cyclones to a piece here from these tech labs. Now, one tank, or rather tanks in general, quite good at holding Cyclones. But when there's enough Cyclones, they can break through a position like this. It's not easy. You need quite a few, but it's doable.
Quick third CC goes down for Shy, though. That's what I like to see with this sort of build. The best thing you can do, pick off a unit or 2, especially if they don't realize what you're up to. And more importantly, when that third command center comes down, if they aren't quite watching, 4 Cyclones run in, they go lock on, command center go disappear. It's one of the most frustrating things, because often you've got the units to beat those Cyclones in a head-to-head, that they are fast. With Magfield, they do 800 damage over 14 seconds to armored units. That's how the lock-on works. So if you think about that, 4 times 800, that's 3,200, more than double a command center's hit points, which means it takes you less than 7 seconds for 4 Cyclones locked on to kill a command center. When you put that in perspective, you realize how vulnerable floating a command center out can be against a Magfield Cyclone player. It's a very dangerous proposition. You got to make sure your tanks are always sieged and you're really keeping your bases nice and safe.
That's right. You get an exposed command center. You try and expand one location. You don't respect these Cyclones. You will lose that command center, and it'll happen quickly too, but quicker than you expect. Like Big mentioned, there's a lot of damage output here when you get that Magfield accelerator. So absolutely something that Time needs to be careful about in this game. Just playing his bread and butter Terran, like this is how he likes to play his TVT. That's actually how he likes to play every matchup. Marine tank. But this time, of course, in TVT, you do throw in the Vikings and the Ravens a little bit quicker. Ooh, he's even throwing in some Marauders here into the production to help him go toe-to-toe with the, I guess, the mech frontline of those Cyclones.
Cyclones running forward. We've got double armory going down now for Shy. And you can see, yeah, really Time knows his stuff. Tanks pre-siege before the third floats down. He's like, no. We're not leaving any openings for this. I know how these shenanigans work, Mr. Cyclone boy. Does not let him come on in. 5 factories going down as well. I mean, I really like the way Shy's playing, and I'm curious to see how it plays out, because honestly, the way a lot of people play bio these days, the traditional, the modern, I should say, not traditional, but the modern standard way of playing TVT, bio players almost look like mech players with how defensive they are. Like with how fast they expand, how many expansions they make. They're not just trying to like force their way in. And you can see here, I mean, the Viking catches the Lib. The Lib's like, I'll get a SCV or 2 before I go, but really not particularly worth it. And Time is just locking things down. And I kind of look at this to say, oh, another one goes down as well. Where do you branch from here? Some people go mass bio. They'll take lots of bases. They'll look for big surrounding engagements. Just hit the double upgrades straight into 2-2, straight into 3-3. Get 12 barracks going, 5-6 bases, mass marine marauder. Maybe look for some drops, look for some flanks. Other players will rush into saying, okay, I've got my biotank army. Let's pivot hard, drop a second and third starport, take air control, and go into range liberators really hard and use that. It's looking like Time is doing the former, leaning on the bio play. 4th command center's on the way, armory's on the way, moving forward with a big bio tank push, wants to start doing some stuff here, and I feel like Shy maybe not fully aware of this. Oh, no tanks in front of that base.
Yeah, no tanks in front. They're a little bit behind, so I mean, Time is going to get himself in range of this command center, which is unfortunate for Shy. He kind of needs to utilize not only the Vikings, but these tanks here, and he starts repositioning them a little too late, so definitely going to lose these depots. Going to get close to the supply blocks as they go down. Repositions those tanks. Time being patient. Still a very high energy Raven, but of course has to respect the Vikings and these Cyclones. Vikings moving forward now for Shy.
He doesn't have a lib yet. This is terrible. No liberate. He's got a lift. He's got a lift. No, Shy! Shy! Oh my god. Jesus, stop playing with my heart, mate. What are you trying to freak me out? Oh.
It's far too late in the evening for this blood pressure spike that Shy is giving us. At least here in Australia. Shout out to all you guys out there on the other side of the world.
Nice. Nothing like some good action-packed TVT from the Chinese scene for that European morning and I guess afternoon at this point, isn't it? Of course, the EU broadcast will be following our broadcast here.
That's right.
Straight into NA behind that. Oh, hell, that's in range. The tanks, he's going to try and break this position.
Ooh. Gets the Ravens. That's a nice pick off there for Shy, and his tank count is still pretty beastly. As long as he doesn't lose his third base.
Drop on the natural at the same time. No, Shy's absolutely done. Time just out positioning him left, right, and center. Comes in on the right-hand side. This is beautiful play. Shy just not really spotting that move out, not having his tanks in position, and now he's running around chasing his own tail. It was right at that point where it looked like Shy was going to get to a massive tanks. He was going to take air control. He was about to get in control of this match. But now he's up against a player who's got 4 bases established. He's barely mining off 2 of his 3 bases. Time's just got absolute control over this game. And if you're relying on tanks, you need to have them sieged in front of your base. That is you need to control the area in front of your base, because you just don't have the mobility. You don't have the Ravens or the Bio to stim forward and break these positions.
And the production difference between the two players is pretty astounding there for a second as well. Shy was just making nothing for about 5-6 seconds there while I watched Time with a laundry list of production. His 2-2 upgrades kicking in. Shy does kick in with his 2-2 upgrades, of course. He is finally on that upgrade train, but the Time is just like, oh, look, I keep losing this air battle. Gonna go ahead and not ever do that ever again. I got 3 starports with reactors on them, and I'm gonna make way more Vikings than even the mech player can handle here, who generally, you know, is going to have the air advantage because you're not wasting time making medevacs as a mech player. But Time just got way too much production. He's got way too big of an econ lead. And, you know, while we're seeing 72 workers here from Shy, which is great, Time's on his way to a 5th base. Shy is still on 3. That is kind of telling the tale here economically for both players.
Yeah, he's going to try and add drilling claws in. He knows that he's going to get swamped by Bio. So he's saying, look, if I can get some Widow Mines out, they can smash the Bio. They also, if I'm behind on Vikings, but I get 1 or 2 Widow Mine hits on the Viking clump of Time, that can totally just smash the Viking clump, and then I get control of the skies again. So the Widow Mines are like this kind of like, you know, Hail Mary comeback unit. Let's hope he walks into some mines when he's not looking. It's not a bad addition to a mech army, but it's not something where you're able to make big plays so much as set yourself up and it's a Home Alone strategy. You know, you're setting up some traps and you're hoping he
paint cans on the staircase.
Yeah,
blowtorch over the door handle. Yeah.
Hopefully a couple of you know, fumbling thieves come in and walk into it. But Time, I don't really characterize him as a bumbling thief, a bumbling burglar.
Nah, he's more of like one of those. He's kind of like that burglar from Ocean's 12 or whichever one it was, the French guy. That, like can basically like pirouette and jump over lasers. He's more of that kind of burglar, which is quite good, you know.
One Widow Mine, a few tanks there doing what they can. Not enough tanks though. Time has the numbers, stimming right through. 6 siege tanks, very, very good normally defensively, but not when you're dealing with over 100 supply of Marine Marauder.
How many Vikings he's got?
1 Marine takes 1 for the team. The Liberator's there, and oof, things getting very, very dicey. Those Thors come forward to try to equalize that air war. Wouldn't mind one of them having single fire mode, but yeah, Time is doing what you do against mech when they're turtling up and refusing to go down. You build about 7 command centers on location across the map. You then make 12 orbital commands to drop mules on those bases. You then throw your SCVs away so you can have 200 army supply of battle cruisers, Vikings, and Libs. and you trollolol your way to victory. And that is, and it's actually the correct way to do it. The sensor tower is being built all around the map. I'm actually surprised Time hasn't brought SCVs across and built them outside Shy's base, because Shy is pinned into his corner of the map, and Time, he's just got free reign over this map. He's going up to like 6-7 starports right now.
I mean, why not? The only thing that can hurt him here is a high siege tank count, a high Thor count. And if he gets so many ranged liberators that it's obscene, what does Shy do against that? He's not winning the air battle. And if he's not winning the air battle, if there's infinity liberators, he can't do anything about it. Yeah,
you're relying on the Widow Mines plus the Thors to equalize, but we've seen players with like 5-6 Thors, and you're like, oh yeah, that beats Liberators. And then you see like 20 of Clem's Liberators siege on them, and you're like, oh, no, those Liberators kill Thors pretty quick when there's that many of them. So I like the Widow Mine addition. I actually think Shy has a fantastic understanding of how to make a comeback happen in this scenario. The way he's peppering Widow Mines everywhere and adding layers to his situation is great. I actually worry about the tank count right now, but just because there's still so much bio. I mean, he's actually setting up really well, and he's balancing things fantastically. As long as he gets the Hellbats in front of his tanks when the fight happens, I think he's actually balancing his ratio almost perfectly as Shy.
It's a lot of libs now for Time. I'd love to get a unit count here.
The tanks are in the open. The tanks are in the open. No, he needs his units to buffer for them.
Vikings coming forward, and they're fighting the air war here, trying to avoid the Thors. In fact, the Thors are getting funneled here, so they're not really helping out with the air battle at all.
Yeah. And the Vikings win the air war. The libs maintain control. No 4th base for you, says Time. Mate, we are playing 8 base versus 3. And it's your job to push through my army. If you can't break out right now, you are done. The Liberators smashing the Thors. Oof. Looks like he will break out, but not without a great cost.
Yeah, and great cost is something that Shy, for lack of a better term, cannot afford. Time is very, very rich right now. In fact, he's missing a little bit of macros, flooding good money right there. But as he macros, he is starting battlecruiser production. He is still making more and more Vikings, more and more libs. He's actually going primarily Sky Terran here as far as resources go. He's got his 3-3 upgrades finishing for bio. He's still making some bio units, a mixture of Marauders and Marines, but he's cut medevac production completely. It's all about Vikings, battlecruisers, Liberators. He wants to rule the skies and have tons of anti-ground damage.
Yeah, the bio is just there, so if your opponent's only building like Vikings and Thors, the bio can stem in and do very well, but it's a complementary group of bio to complement a gigantic air army. And Time starting up more battle cruisers here. He's got so many starports, and the extra orbitals that we talked about before have just finished up. So he's got, I think, about 6 or 7 orbitals right now. I'm kind of surprised he's built planetarias on all these bases, to be honest. I actually think he could have been even bigger in the economy if more of them were mules, but BC run buyers is one of the best things to do. So people often say, you know, battlecruisers are unbeatable. How do you beat battlecruisers? And there's a lot of Terran players who say, well, actually, I've gone battlecruisers. They're not that good. They get beat by Vikings. They get beat by Thors. They get beat by Corruptors. Like, they're not even good. What are people complaining about? The battlecruiser is not a I'm going to win a direct fight unit. It is a I will win the efficiency game over time, because it can do this. Dive through the main base while you're attacking elsewhere, take out a bunch of workers, a bunch of infrastructure, Yamato some expensive units, teleport home, repair, come back. It is the ultimate efficiency unit that will drain your opponent's will to live. It is fantastic for that.
And he does lose 1 there, which is unfortunate for Time. Definitely didn't need to do that, but you know, he's got the economy to pay the bills, put it that way. To put it lightly, he's got even the rich Vespine base, which is just overkill at this point, because he's already floating nearly 3,000 gas. Like, what do you need this rich base for, mate? You gonna make a bunch of Ravens later? I mean, I guess he could if you wanted to, but not sure how long they'd last. I mean, this is one of those things, like, this is a lesson to all, basically, people that play StarCraft that get frustrated with Turtle Terran. Always got 2 fusion cores, whoopsie daisies. But you get frustrated with a Turtle Terran, the answer very often is take the map. They're not moving out, take the map. Do what Time did here. Obviously, not saying just play like Time. Just at whatever league you are, you take the map and you drop more production than you feel you need, because it'll end up being paid for eventually, and you will just outproduce your opponent. And even though you potentially trade inefficiently against the mech player, that's likely going to be the case, you'll just have so many resources that it won't matter.
Oh, that's a gigantic air army. The Thors, though, going to be quite big. The Widow Mine gets a big shot on those Vikings, doing what he can, but Shy's mineral line is in jeopardy right now. 2 Vikings come forward. They run into 8 of the enemies. The battlecruisers do another run by. Oh, those BCs almost get a command center over there.
Surely you tactical jump the 1 hit point battlecruiser out of this, right?
Maynard, you see, what you're getting a lesson in here is how to be a Chad. Time does not back away from a fight. Yes.
Battlecruiser survived, by the way. Tactical jump back with more like 1 hit point, maybe 10. Jeez. Yeah, Time is just massing battlecruisers here. I mean, there is the right comp for an army like this, right? Like just a lot of Thors with 3-3. That is a hard army for, like, strangely enough, for a guy making mass lib BC to kill. But Shy, again, is just losing the resources war here. He's desperately trying to get a 5th base up. Time has, what are we looking at, 10 bases?
You know, there's not a lot of bank, and if these Thors can beat these battlecruisers handily enough, there is a chance here. There's a lot of libs, though, and that's why it's so hard for the Thors to really do anything. The Widow Mines all get picked off by the libs. I'm looking at this and saying, well, you know what? Shy has actually hung on like an absolute champ, has a huge 3-3 Thor army. He's been watching Vibes Bronze to GM series, and I think he... It's late game. You replace the Hellbats with Thors at this stage. They don't shoot up Maynard. You didn't watch his most recent series.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Honestly, that's a crazy Thor count. The Yamato is going to be huge, though.
Yeah, Yamato going to soften up these Thors quite a bit. The Liberator's blanketing freedom from above.
Wow.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
this is a crazy fight. The libs, though, those libs are doing good damage. Man, a bunch of those battlecruisers disappeared so fast. That's actually insane how well those Thors do against the BCs. But it's the Yamatos that just like wipe a bunch of Thors at the start of the fight. The libs, once they're sieged before the fight happens, if you're waddling through that with the Thor, it's such an immobile unit. It just does not work that well.
And Time is about to max out again here against a guy that's about to get 150 once more. He also has 3-3 everything. 3-3 bio, 3-3 ground army, 3-3 air army. So he is as upgraded as could be with building armor about to finish up. This is a very tough situation for Shy, who definitely had a very powerful damage output army there. Now that the armor upgrades are done, that's kind of starting to swing a little bit more in the favor of Time again, a little bit, just because he has a bigger army again. And I like that he just doesn't... He's thrown away some SCVs as well, freeing up some supply to actually make an army. This Liberator also denying whatever mining Shy has. And we're seeing a big bank difference here for both players. A huge
Still,
bank difference.
how is Shy making this so competitive? I'm so impressed. I honestly thought he was just going to roll over and die, dude. Oh! Tactical jump on your face. Hot damn.
Another trap maneuver.
That is how you finish it, Maynard. That is it. You drop your battlecruisers on their face. You can't crouch in this game, Maynard, in an RTS, but you can tactical jump on top of their army and just mass Yamato it out of the game.
All right, so that is the StarCraft version of teabagging. Just learned. Nicely done. All right. Well, I mean, Time does take the last 2 maps in a row. Enjoy your T-Pig. He does take the last 2 maps in a row, which means that it's match point here for Time. We'll get on that Shy hype train after map number 1. And you know what? A little part of me still believes that Shy's got it in him to maybe take this to game 5, but Time, as we feared, showing in the last couple games that he is the better player.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate that Shy wasn't sieged in front of that 3rd base. The moment you have to lift your 3rd, right at that point, when you're swapping into air, your tank count isn't quite there. And then he lost so many units just before this clip trying to break it, didn't kill anything, and then got caught on the natural. And from there, it was like, Shy was just massively behind. And there was moments like this where he was like set up in a nice angle, and Time was like, well, I have triple your army supply. Just stimmed through and killed him. And I mean, the battlecruiser swap, a great way to play it. Time just mass BC lib, dude. I've seen it in TVZ before. I don't know if I've it's been a long time since I've seen this much of a Sky Terran army in Terran versus Terran.
Yeah, it's been a minute. You know, I see it in my league, but my league is very, 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 very low below these 2 gentlemen. So I would take that with a grain of salt. And that was the final move there. The tactical yump right on top of Shy's army. And he says, get out of my map. In handed fashion there with that big aggressive tactical jump. The flower of BC on top of the, you know, that tactical jump when there's 1 BC in the middle and then all of its fans are like aimed in on that 1 BC in the middle.
Yeah, well, you know, the Thor pilots, one of them was just sitting there. Gary, the Thor pilot, he was like, okay, you know what? We're fighting here. Gaza. And he goes, oh, I don't remember the weather saying it was going to be rainy and cloudy today. It was meant to be sunny. And oh, no, there's 12 battle cruisers have just literally blocked out the sun. Not a good way to go, man.
That's right. They rain fire from above with those Liberators' assistance. But that is going to be the situation right now as we head into map number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, currently time on match point with Shy and a map in the bag. Can he tie it up? Let's find out after the break. See you then. Oh, hi there. Welcome back to the Chinese main event for DreamHack Masters Winter. I'm Maynard, with me is Pig, and we are going into what could potentially be our final map of the day, because it's time on match point here against Shy, and I gotta say, as good as Shy looked in game one, Time has been looking good in game 2 and 3.
Yeah, he has been perfect. Honestly, after that first game, he's come out swinging, and Shy's left a couple of openings, which, we talked about it. The moment Time gets an opening, dude, he is going to run away with these maps, and that's exactly been the story in these last couple of games. It has been just a brutal situation for Shy. That last map, I liked the setup with the mech. Time left no openings for him to do anything. And then from the first tank push onwards, it was all Time just controlling the pace of the game. I expect Shy to go back to bio here, but we'll have to see. What has he got left in his bag of tricks? So we go into map number 4, Oxide?
Question mark?
Lightshade. Can't quite remember. We'll find out in a moment. Of course, we've heard that the game has started. Some of that lovely countdown in-game music. And no, it's going to be Dethora. Hora Mortal.
Well, in the top left here, onus is on him to try and tie it up. In the red here from Invictus Gaming, this is Shy.
Didn't look shy in that first map. But unfortunately for him, his opponent is the undisputed king of the region. Down here at the bottom right-hand side in the blue. Don't be sleeping on this guy. It is Time. Reppin' Kaisi Gaming.
With all these DreamHack casts, Pig, none of us has been sleeping on Time. It's a staying up late joke. It's well,
I'm glad you made it, Maynard. You know, I usually bring the dad jokes, but it's good to be, you know, in good company. You know, it's good to not be alone in that case. Feel like I fit in. SCVs, poof, just phase through each other there in the middle of the map.
It's the TVT handshake. It's you do a high five in the middle of the map, because in the end, you know, this is a game about friendship and supporting one another, and definitely not a war game where you rip each other's faces off and take their ladder points.
Both of them going to be going for the fast expand gas first for Shy. It's going to be going for a quick factory, while Time is going to be going for a more conservative Reaper, opening into a much later factory. Probably going to be using the bunker behind it. We'll keep our eyes on it if it's a Marine after that Reaper, or is it a second Reaper? Marine. Okay, cool. So just going to go to the factory, probably into a immediate starport Raven production, just like the most stock standard. Usually you'll go a safety bunker, but because he's seen the expand from Shy, if he does want to go for that bunker, it'll be much later on. Yeah.
Something will be the case here. Now, bunkers can be extremely important depending on what your opponent's going for. They're opening for, you know, a fair bit of early game units. Like they go lean a little bit heavier on the Reaper Hellion thing, and you don't. You can die straight up in TVT. So the bunker could be really important there. We are just seeing the reactors finishing up, and at the moment, Shy going to go straight into Hellion production.
Yeah.
Getting his early game army. So it doesn't look like he's going to bunker up at all.
Yeah, both players just building upwards here. Immediate tech lab on the factory. Starport's going to go down as well. But no, a quick third command center for Time. Wow. Mega greed. Just going to defend with Marines and Cyclones. I like it.
And we do see... Oh, Shy. All right. Going for the Marauders and Concussive Shell here. So this is going to line up with a medevac, right?
Yeah, you're meant to leave 3 on each gas, though, so you can build the medevac straight away. Does have to cancel the concussive there. Okay, there we go. Just got that slightly out of order. Doesn't really matter, because Marauders take so long to build anyway, that your medevac, it kind of, you know, it has to wait for 2 Marauders. But 6 Hellions, a Reaper, 2 Marauders jumping out of that medevac. Now, if there was one build I want to fight with this, Maynard, it is exactly what Time's doing. Quick third CC, no tank building, no second cyclone. He is so second cyclone starts now, but kind of late. He is so reliant on that cyclone. And the way this works is, as Shy, you want to jump on the units on the natural. When the cyclone comes down, you want to boost your medevac in, drop Marauders on top of the cyclone, and take it out really quickly.
Yep. There's actually a shout out to Uthermal's YouTube. He actually has this build as a guide on his YouTube. So if you guys want to pick up what Shy is putting down, I mean, very likely you're not hitting time on ladder, so you'll probably take a lot of TVT ladder scalps there. This is very scary push.
So good, man. Oh, he boosts very early here. Those Marauders need to tag the Cyclone. They do tag it. Medevac has been hit by the Cyclone, though.
Oh, the body block on the Marauders.
Ooh, and the second Cyclone comes forward as well. And that Cyclone, yeah, look at that Marine target fire on the Marauder. The Marauder goes down there. Cyclone survives on the high ground. Lots of SCVs. Still going to go down on this low ground, though. And I think you maybe back off. Can you get that Cyclone? Oh my god, he's going to get it!
Oh my god, yes, this big die with the Hellions, and now it's pretty much just Marines and SCVs against 4 or 5 Hellions.
Devastating.
4 Hellions and a Reaper. Oh man,
Shy.
Tons of damage.
Dude, that is an absolute destruction of Time's workers. 36 versus 22 behind that. Shy did not miss a beat with his macro. He's got his gases on his natural. His own third command center is almost halfway done. Yes, there is triple mule dropping. Time can use that to try to boost his recovery. But I don't know, dude. That was huge damage. I think Time should have stayed behind that wall. Trying to come down with a Cyclone. Way too ballsy.
Yeah, indeed. And now, similar to game 1, Shy's found himself with a very lovely one early game. He's like, okay, I've won the early game and I'm getting my 3rd CC up. It's not on location like it was in game 1, so he's not quite bold in that regard. But ahead 13 workers is a tough deficit in TVT, even when you do have the faster 3rd.
Has to keep building Cyclones for a little bit there. It's kind of that annoying situation when you lose your Cyclone and you're like, you know what? If a Liberator or a Banshee comes in, I kind of just have nothing. Like, you kind of have to have a Cyclone just to be safe. So Time builds his like 3rd or 4th Cyclone of the game and finally gets to go into tank production. I do like this. The Raven going to come out. Vikings are already in production. So it's going to be a single auto turret and then you got to get the heck out of dodge.
Yep. I mean, does get a good chunk of SCVs with a double auto turret harassment. It's actually in both mineral lines there. Kill 5 SCVs all up. Denies a ton of mining time. Looks like all the SCVs are going into the main base. The National's actually a ghost town. There we go.
One Raven did die for that, though. The Vikings were out front. They intercepted it on the way home on the bottom. So they're actually now going across the map for the counter push. And you've just used that energy to defend. Shy's like, well, I already have more units than you. Now I'm going to push as well with those units. But, oh, good play. Cyclone goes forward, spots the push, and will nab a Viking, at least damage it. Oh, Raven.
Ooh, thank you, Acceleration Zone. Raven pulls back and survives.
Energy and hit points are almost gone on it anyway. And this is still an awkward position. I think Shy is not going to get anything done here. Shy, he feels like he's got to do something because he took a little bit of damage. He's got to be patient. Oh.
This is a very tough tank line for Shy to deal with. He's only got the 1 Raven here. Of course, does have Vikings. That's a nice advantage for him. He does have the air advantage. But gets 1 tank. Nice pick off there for Shy.
Great slow push. The tank spread from Shy is great. Oh, the Viking comes forward and nabs the Raven. Nicely done by Time. But look at that. The interference matrix went down, so he's going to get another siege tank. And that tank advantage starting to get out of control. I mean, look at Time's defense. He's got 1 tank on that 3rd. What else is defending there? I feel like a Viking could just land on that tank and it would be toast, right? Like, he's actually in a really awkward position right now.
Well, the Vikings coming forward, and they're relatively healthy here for Shy, but Time going to try and mitigate that with the auto turrets. This spammed auto turrets here from Time do seem to be enough to break this siege push. And Time is going to defend again. I mean, Time has been so good at defending Shy's attacks in every single game in the series. Even the one he lost, Time was so sick at defending.
Well, I think you get a lot of Marine movement around the map, like the better player. But Shy here, I mean, he's just looking like he is in control when he's able to have the Viking tank advantage and do these frontal pushes. Now, it looks like it's been held. Time has gathered up the Viking advantage. He's kept one of these Ravens alive all throughout, which is, or 2 in fact. which is actually really good. That's a testament to Time's skill. When you're under pressure like that, very easy to lose the Ravens. He doesn't. And as we kind of gather stock, 4th Command Center is on location for Shy, but Shy is way behind in the upgrades. 1-1, I believe, is finished for Time. I'm not sure, actually. Wait a second. They haven't even started?
Upgrades. Wow.
Oh, he's building in his armory before 1-1?
Oh, that's a mistake. That's a mistake.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think Time's missed the fact that he's missed those upgrades here. Obviously, it's been very hectic in this game. He's been defending pushes at his third base. He's been microing his Ravens around. It's understandable, but unfortunately, it is going to cost him quite a bit when the 1-1 is done for Shy, well and truly ahead of Time. Especially if Shy has any semblance of a decent army count on Marines on the Marine front, and there's that 1-1. Time kicking himself a little bit there as he starts +1 on the armory as well.
Tied-in workers, upgrade advantage, expansion advantage for Shy as well. Expanding on location, taking gases there immediately. And Shy here, yeah, really looks like he is poised to try and convert. Does drop mules at his 4th a little before it finishes. They have to do one long distance trip. Slight inefficiency there, but I like the fact that Shy is doing a lot at a time. The way Shy makes use of his kind of map control when he's ahead, that's what I'm most impressed by. Same as that Pillars of Gold game. And you know, it's honestly, this is just a different Shy to I'm used to seeing. I'm so impressed. And I think we've been obviously just so excited to see not a new Terran, but an old Terran just suddenly show a completely drastic difference in his skill level. Such a good season here for Shy. And oh, he's getting ready for a real firm tank push. 6 tanks in the medevacs.
Oh my god. He did a similar attack like this on Pillars of Gold. It was 2 medevacs with tanks in them, and his Marines kind of got blocked by the tanks, and it was a very awkward engagement. But I do like the play of just boosting those tanks into the fight immediately and surprising your opponent with offensive.
The tanks are all sieging on the wrong side.
Oh my god.
For Time, they're not in position. I mean, he gets some great defensive shots on these Marines, but his tank position gets busted. 6 tanks sieged up. Time has to run into the tank line. An amazing push. Shy absolutely slaughters the mineral line. The command center gets out of there. Whoa. But look at this position. Shy smashing it.
And these interference matrices are so stacked on top of each other that was causing some kind of arc lightning response. I mean, Shy gets an incredible engagement there, Pig. Obviously, it started off a little bit weird. Once again, the Marines getting kind of fed into a meat grinder. Vikings diving and landing with a medevac carpet bomb of Marines here on top of the tank line. He does clean it up. But as the dust settles, Shy ahead 20 workers. And a huge lead on 2-2 upgrades as well.
I still can't believe that Time always clears these pushes out. Like that one, I was like, oh, you're done. But then those 5 Marines went forward and got one shot by the tank. They were all bruised. Vikings land, he cleans it up, he reestablishes the 4th. It's like, anyone else would just be dead for these moves. But Time is like, no, like non-stop macro behind it. He's adding Liberators here because he's like, you know what, let's try and get some libs out. And I think what's the one thing that I keep mentioning is, well, what if you could slide a single 8 Marine drop across? What if you could slide a lib in the backline? I think anything that you can force Shy to react to you and extend that over time. Blue player, Time, he's got the better mechanics. He's the better, faster player if he can actually be the one dictating the pace. But right now it's all Shy. Shy is the one pushing forwards. He's scanning. He's looking for weakness. He's taking a 5th base and a fusion core behind this. His 2-2 upgrades are about to kick in. That is once again a double upgrade advantage. He's looking for the rotate on the right, but he should not go for this. If he tries to force the issue, he will get smashed. I think right now he's got to kind of just be a little bit more patient. I wouldn't mind some drops, some lib harass. He's building up for a triple starport Viking lib advantage. He's starting 3-3 immediately. Every single advantage is on the side of red.
And he has not been throwing these advantages away, but an attack, a bad fight certainly could be that mistake that Time would need to capitalize. You make mistakes against Time, and he will punish you so hard for it. We've seen Shy make very few mistakes in this game, and he's still finding it hard to win. Time just keeps being super defensive, scans again, sees the tanks are still there, the Ravens intercepting. Time, thanks to these sensor towers, is able to reposition his forces quite fast. I like this move from Time, loading up some medevacs on the left side for a very high DPS drop. If that gets into the infrastructure of Shy, he's going to lose so much. Oh my god, his main's wide open. Yeah, no, he's in big trouble. This is the perfect move from Time. Shy has been looking for weakness. He's been scaring Time all game long, but Time has realized he's got enough tanks and libs at home. He can hold on, and a quad drop in the main. Time needs to go home. His production's going to get ransacked,
but he's just got to go home and defend this. There's no way he can counter push. He's going to lose so much of that production. He's going to have to stim all the way back. Already, it looks like both factories and his starport 100% going to go down. The command center falling. Oh, I mean, this is recoverable. You're on 6 bases. It's just, oh, he's actually left a lot of tanks in the middle of the map as well. His Vikings getting smashed.
I mean, this was extremely costly here for Shy. Time mainly losing minerals, and these Marines, of course, Medevacs dying as well. Oh, he hasn't even cleaned it up yet. Okay, does get it cleaned up. And he's going to resume his push here and hopefully remake some of his production. He also lost an add-on there in the end. Again, like, he is further along on 3-3. He does have the bigger army still. His economy is still all right because, like you mentioned, Piggy's got these extra command centers. So it's not that bad for Shy. It's definitely recoverable, but does need to work in his production. He makes 3 factories, actually, to replenish that number lost.
I think he's almost swapping into pure mech at this point. Like, he's going double ship weapons, but his barracks count has really been smashed and he's not replacing it. And that's worrisome because it's losing track of where you are in the game. Re-establishing that production would put him back to where he's used to being. He's not used to being in this position where his marine production has been just smashed. It's gone. You know, his 3-3 advantage. It's not worth that right now. So I feel like with no vehicle, I don't know what his vehicle weapon upgrades are at, but hopefully he has like +2 or something because
+1.
Not where you'd like it to be swapping in. Like, it's okay. The libs are now here. This is still a good position for Shy's forward move out. Oh, Viking fight so close.
With the Raven, I think that Shy is going to lose this air battle for sure. So he pulls back on those Vikings. I mean, he was already kind of losing it before the Raven interfered. And in comes another drop here from Shy. Those starports would be a tasty target here for these 16 Marines.
Round 2. I mean, none of the turret insurance was built. Shy is so focused on kind of breaking time and stopping him, letting him get to the late game. And this is the problem now. He's going to lose his starport production. Time is retaking control of the skies. He has air superiority right now, and he's taking out the enemy's starports. This is a huge reset button. Time gets space to take his 5th base behind this. His air upgrades are catching up. Saves the drop as well. This is like just expert knuckling down on defense, and it's just that one little counter attack doing so much to buy him momentum and time in this game. Really, it's like he's just taken the wind out of Shy's sails. Shy's got to fix his production, fix his upgrades, fix his
he's not
base.
making any units.
Yeah,
he hasn't made any units in a while.
It's such an awkward position to be in now because he's like, wait, am I going for the air control? That's what his game plan was. But he's just lost his starport, so he can't take the air control. He needs to swap back into marine tank right now, in my opinion. But you know what, Maynard? He doesn't have many barracks. He's stuck production-wise. He's in an awkward position. Time is suddenly the one who I think could start moving out on this map. He can dictate the skies. He's got a better marine count. He's got a better Viking count. The only thing Shy has going for him is the tank superiority. But once a few libs come out for Time, that's not going to be worth that much.
Hey, you are not wrong. There's a big ball of units here from Shy. He's got all of his units actually moving through the middle of the map. Now, Time does have a line of tanks sort of protecting the 4th and the 5th on the south side, the 6 o'clock and the 7 o'clock base. He's looking to try and catch the movements here of his opponent as he scans forward. Raven's going forward.
He's going for it.
He's going for it.
Oh, he's just going to try and get out of there. Shy is running. He's got tanks on the right-hand side that do secure his position, but those Ravens, dude, they are the siege breakers, right? That is exactly what those Ravens are. They just, take a few of these out. The turrets, of course, going to hold back the Raven advance or at least punish it if they run forward. But tanks can zone those down, right? They can just siege them up, take them down little by little. This rich gas base is in Time's target sights, and he is taking aim and firing at this base. Shy, he's trying to add Yamato. He's got the slight lead in the air upgrades, but I think there is a starport advantage for Time right now.
Shy did make a bunch of starports earlier, but you're probably right there. 2 BCs, 1 Viking producing starports. He probably has 3 at least. We do have the Viking advantage for Time, quite large here. Large and in charge. And now with that scan, he's in range of the turret. There we go. With that turret going down, he can start working on these tanks again. And he starts doing that immediately. He moves these tanks forward. Going to send those Ravens forward. In fact, if he could drop the interference matrix, I think that this tank count could really get picked off. I don't know if he can crack the planetary, but he can at least break the siege line.
Ooh, Vikings, the Marines adding so much there. Great fight for Shy. Great fight for Shy. But he's so outnumbered, does it even matter? It feels like there's so many more Vikings in that Viking Flower of Time that he's still got the Viking advantage there.
Shy going to use similar to Time tactic there, just going to grab a bunch of Marines and go for a counterattack. This does mean that he doesn't have a front line for those tanks, because he's got a very low Marine count, but the zoning tanks that we talked about at 6 and 7 or 6 and 630 just really start to get a good volley off on those Marines. Going to go for the carpet bomb here. He is going to break those 3 tanks. Time with enough units, though, to come down and reinforce this position and just knock it back. Shy using the Vikings expertly here to get rid of these tanks that are busy fighting a planetary. They don't fire back.
Oh, got to pull back up that ramp, and we'll have to get out of that left-hand side. Remember, not as much barracks production, much harder to replenish these mobile units for Shy. So Shy is much more reliant on tank Viking. So if he ever loses control of the skies, which he's lost for the last 6 minutes, it opens up so many weaknesses, because now he's so focused on trying to get control of the skies. Well, where's his ground army? Where's his tanks? And look at the way Time's taking advantage of this. He's using his air advantage to open up weaknesses on the ground, and his Marines are taking advantage.
Base goes down, workers getting shaved into, and even in battlecruiser getting interference matrix is going to go for the top side. That's actually Time's battlecruisers, not Shy's. And Shy, oh man, if Time gets into this natural, he's going to be able to crack the main and take all the production down. That's way too many Marines.
That is how you do it, dude. You get your opponent reacting to you trying to catch up on the Viking count, and that's when your Marines find the weakness, because he's not worried about the Marines, he's worried about the air. Your Marines end up being the absolute winner of that. It's the Marines, as the surprise maneuver, the mobile unit that finds the weakness and Time there.